700 meters underground, 33 men were eating 2 spoonfuls of tuna every other day, listening to the rock above them groan, and writing goodbye letters to wives who already believed they were dead. For 17 days, the entire planet had buried them. Then a steel drill bit came back to the surface with a note taped to it, and everything changed. August 5th, 2010. The San José copper gold mine, deep in Chile's Atacama desert, one of the driest places on Earth. The mine was old, it was unstable, it had killed before. And on that afternoon, a single block of diorite, roughly the weight of 2 Empire State Buildings, broke loose and sealed the main ramp. 33 men were trapped below it. They had a small emergency shelter the size of a studio apartment. They had rations meant to feed them for 48 hours, and they had, above their heads, 700 meters of solid rock, more than twice the height of the Eiffel Tower. Do you understand what that means? Rescuers couldn't dig down to them. The mountain itself was the prison. Any tunnel big enough to pull a human through would take months to drill, and the miners had food for 2 days. Officially, after about a week of failed probe attempts and collapsing exploration shafts, the consensus inside the Chilean government was brutal and quiet. They were gone. You don't survive that, you don't survive crushed access tunnels and dust clouds and a mountain that's still shifting. The families refused to leave. They set up tents at the mine entrance and called it Camp Hope, Campamento Esperanza, and they waited while officials privately discussed how to recover bodies that might never be recovered at all. Now here's the part nobody saw coming. 17 days in, on August 22nd, a narrow exploratory drill, just a probe looking for any pocket of open space, punched through into a tunnel far below. The engineers pulled the drill bit back up to the surface, and taped to it, in red paint and shaking handwriting, was a note, 7 words in Spanish. Estamos bien en el refugio los 33s. We are well in the shelter, the 33 of us, all of them, alive. The shift foreman, a man named Luis Urzúa, had done something almost impossible in those first 17 days. He'd taken 2 days of food and stretched it across more than 2 weeks. 2 spoonfuls of tuna, a sip of milk, a cracker, every 48 hours. In total darkness, in 90% humidity, in heat that hovered around 90 degrees Fahrenheit. He'd organized them like a small republic, votes, shifts, jobs, a clock built from the rhythm of distant drilling. He kept 33 men sane while the world above them was writing their obituaries. And if this story is already getting under your skin, do me a favor and subscribe, because the rescue itself is somehow stranger than the disaster. Because now Chile had a new problem. The men were alive, the world knew they were alive, and nobody on Earth had ever pulled living people out from that depth before. Think about the engineering for a second. You need to drill a hole wide enough for a human body, about 28 inches across, through 700 meters of unstable rock without triggering another collapse on top of the men you're trying to save. One wrong vibration, one miscalculation in the drill angle, and you bury them again. So Chile did something unprecedented. They ran 3 separate rescue drills simultaneously, calling them Plan A, Plan B, and Plan C. 3 different teams, 3 different machines, 3 different strategies, a race against the rock itself. Plan A was a massive Australian-built drill, slow but steady. Plan B used a drill originally designed for water wells, repurposed and pushed past its limits. Plan C was an oil rig hauled in piece by piece across the desert, the kind of machine you use to punch holes in the ocean floor. Meanwhile, NASA got involved. Yes, that NASA. Because nobody on Earth understood prolonged isolation in a confined space better than the people who designed space stations. They sent specialists to advise on nutrition, psychology, group dynamics, how to keep 33 men from turning on each other in a hot rock tomb. Supplies started coming down through narrow boreholes the width of a grapefruit. Little capsules they called palomas, doves, food, water, letters from home, tiny projectors so the men could watch their favorite soccer team, toothbrushes, cigarettes, antidepressants. And here's the detail that gets me. The miners were so worried about being treated like victims, like helpless trapped animals, that they organized themselves into work crews. They cleared rubble, they mapped the tunnels, they held daily meetings. One of them, Yoni Barrios, had basic medical training, so he became the doctor. Another led the prayers. Another kept everyone's spirits up. They were running a society, underground, in the dark, for more than 2 months. Above them, Camp Hope had become a city. Hundreds of journalists, satellite trucks, the president of Chile, Sebastian Piera, personally on site. The whole world watching one hole in the ground in the middle of the Atacama desert. And then, on October 9th, after 65 days underground, Plan B broke through. But the drilling wasn't the rescue. That was just the hole. Now they had to actually get the men out. Chilean engineers had designed a custom capsule. They called it the Phoenix. about the size of a phone booth, painted in the colors of the Chilean flag. It would drop down the borehole, one man would climb in, and a winch on the surface would slowly pull him up through 700 meters of rock that could still shift at any second. The ride was supposed to take about 15 minutes per man, 33 men. They started just before midnight on October 12th. If you're still here, hit the like button. Chile spent 69 days fighting that mountain. The least we can do is acknowledge a good story. The first man out was Florencio Valos. He stepped from the capsule into the desert night and hugged his son. The crowd erupted. Piera was there, cameras everywhere. One by one, the capsule went down and came back up, hour after hour, through the night and into the next day. The whole world watching live. More than 1 billion people, by some estimates, tuned in. 1 in 7 humans alive at that moment was watching this. And the last man out, the 33rd, was Luis Urzúa, the shift foreman, the man who'd stretched 2 days of food into 17. He insisted on it. Captain leaves the ship last. He stepped out at 9:55 p.m. on October 13th, 2010, 69 days after the collapse. He walked over to President Piera, and according to people who were there, he said something close to, "I've handed the shift over to you. I hope this never happens again. Hand over the shift." After 69 days underground, like he was clocking out at the end of a normal Tuesday, every single one of them survived the rescue. Every single one. But here's the part that history quietly forgets. The San José mine had a record. Workers had died there before. Safety violations had been flagged repeatedly. The mine had been shut down after a fatal accident in 2007 and allowed to reopen without the structural fixes regulators had demanded. The men were down there because the system above them had failed them long before the rock did. Several of the 33 never fully recovered. Not physically, psychologically, nightmares, PTSD, depression. Some struggled with addiction, some couldn't hold jobs. The fame faded. The book deals didn't pay what they expected. The movie was made, the cameras left, and a lot of them were left alone with what 69 days in the dark had done to their minds. A few of them sued, some won small settlements, some got nothing. The mining company that owned San José went bankrupt and largely escaped accountability. The mine itself was sealed, but Chile's mining industry, the backbone of its economy, kept going, mostly unchanged. So when you hear the Copy App story told as a triumph, and it is a triumph, remember the other half. 33 men survived a mountain. What a lot of them didn't survive, not entirely, was coming back. Luis Urzúa kept his promise to himself. He kept all 33 alive underground. The hard part, it turned out, was staying alive above it. If this hit you, like it and subscribe. There are more forgotten edges of famous stories where that came from.